and I just want to keep creating incredible things for you guys. And even if there's bumps in the road, I am not gonna stop creating, and I'm not gonna stop trying. You're just not gonna stop me, girl. I know there's a lot of you out there. I see you sometimes. You wanna stop me, you're not going to.
We've been talking about Jaclyn Hill a lot lately. From Morphe shutting all their US stores and filing for bankruptcy, to finding out Jaclyn Cosmetics was always owned by Morphe and the whole CEO thing being a lie. I think we always had this feeling that Jaclyn Cosmetics was never truly Jaclyn's brand, but seeing the court documents and seeing the names of the real CEO and finding out that Forma owns 100% of the shares really put things into perspective. I don't think Morphe owning Jaclyn's brand is necessarily a bad thing either. Building a brand from the ground up all on your own is so much work. There's a really good possibility that Jaclyn most likely went out and tried to do the whole thing on her own, and she realized how hard it truly would be. Going with Morphe was the easy option, and that's fine. Not everyone was made to be a CEO and a brand owner. But what's not okay is lying. Telling people that you're a family business when you're actually owned by one of the biggest cosmetics brand in the world is not okay, and people want Jaclyn to address it. That's not the only thing that people want Jaclyn to address. For months now, people have been calling on Jaclyn to address the situation with Koze. If you guys don't already know, I do have a few videos on what happened, but pretty much Jaclyn launched a homeware brand called Koze and stole the name from a smaller creator.
There's several products in my first collection, and I'm so excited about all of them. I can't tell you what my favorite is. I'm just gonna dive in. I'm gonna grab a really big one. So many of you guys guessed it, but I've given a ton of hints away, if I'm gonna be honest, because I'm so excited about this.
When Jaclyn was preparing for her launch, she made this Instagram account, and her fans ended up finding it and blowing the page up, all excited for whatever she was about to launch. Some people noticed the brand name was actually the name of another influencer brand by Kaylin Nicholson. Before anything even launched, Kaylin commented on the brand's page, informing them of her brand. She was super kind about it, and Jaclyn responded by posting a teaser of the Koze tag with the TM symbol at the end. Pretty much saying, I don't care about your brand, mine's trademarked. But here's the shady thing. It actually wasn't trademarked. Kaylin posted this whole video about the entire situation, and when her lawyers looked into it, they found out this alleged trademark wasn't even filed or pending.
What really kind of put a bad taste in my mouth was, instead of this creator responding, their team, or they did, just posted a reel with the word Koze, or they call it Koze, with a TM beside it. The reason why that put a bad taste in my mouth is because, one, the energy was weird. It was weird because it just kind of gave a like, yeah, I saw your comment, here's my response, trademarked. I was working with lawyers who looked it up and they hadn't trademarked it. In fact, the first post for this brand was in July. So usually when you file a trademark, it takes a week or two to show up in the database. It had been months. There was no trademark filed under this person or their LLC, which is kind of like their incorporation. It's called an incorporation in Canada. It's an LLC in the US, at least that's my understanding from what my lawyer told me. They didn't have anything filed. And so maybe they saw my post or my comment and then decided to file. And you can put trademark TM beside something you even just have intentions of trademarking without it even being trademarked. But it gave the impression that they had a trademark they didn't have. And then a lot of the comments were kind of like, yeah, shove it in her face kind of thing. And that energy was like, not my cup of tea.
Pretty much, Jaclyn lied about it being trademarked to hopefully maybe like scare Kaylin off and get her to shut up and move on. Things are starting to make a lot of sense now, because when I was watching Jaclyn's launch video, one thing I found kind of strange was how Jaclyn made note to mention just how hard it was to find a name for her brand.
My new brand is called Koze. You have no idea how hard it was to name this brand. We probably went through 50 names. Everything was taken. Everything was trademarked. Oh my gosh. We even came up with words, like created words that isn't even a real word, and they were still taken and still trademarked. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, everything's been thought of. It was not easy. And for this,
I just feel like that's something you probably wouldn't be mentioning in your launch video. The name of your brand is so important, and it can literally make or break you. It should be something unique that stands out, and Jaclyn kind of sounds like she was throwing whatever name out there, hoping it wasn't taken. I think that was just her way of trying to save herself, knowing if Kaylin ever came up, she could be like, guys, I literally looked forever and I had such a hard time. But Kaylin pointed out, if she searched so hard, how come she never came across Jaclyn's brand? If she simply Googled or typed in Koze into YouTube, Jaclyn's Brand would have come up.
Would you not look it up on social media and look it up on Google? Because if you did both of those things, you would definitely see my Koze. And if you found my Koze, you would know that I was a fellow YouTuber, a fellow influencer, I hate that word, but content creator, with a brand under the same spelling.
Jaclyn ended up having to change the name of her company that she's had for years now. She knew if anyone was searching for Koze, Jaclyn's Brand would have come up in the search results over her brand simply because of how big Jaclyn's audience is. I know a lot of people are going to say that Jaclyn could have taken legal action or maybe even tried to beat Jaclyn to the trademark, but the thing about that is it would have cost her a ton of money. Jaclyn has the money to throw at a lawsuit, and since Jaclyn lives in Canada, it would have cost her so much money. One thing I've been noticing a lot of people pointing out is that there actually are a lot of brands out there called Koze, and some people were like, well, what's the big deal? Those brands weren't bothering you, so why are you mad about her brand? But Jaclyn said those brands called Koze are actually in different categories, so it didn't really matter.
The difference is, and this was a big argument of a lot of people that were a fan base of this person, is that, well, there's already like so many Kozes, what does it matter? That was the one of the big arguments. They're not in direct competition. In terms of following, in terms of, you know, what you grew your influence under being YouTube and online content creation, that's very similar. The person that's running a restaurant, the person that's a DJ, the person that has a radio station doesn't have similar following, doesn't have similar startups, you know, from where they came from, where they started.
Jaclyn's Koze and Jaclyn's Koze, although pronounced differently, are both spelt the same and they're both influencer brands selling really similar products. Jaclyn did expand into other categories with Koze like yoga and other stuff, but she was still selling shirts and stuff like that, and it could easily be mistaken for Jaclyn's Brand. And you guys know, people have been calling Jaclyn out for months now over this. A lot of people feel like Jaclyn knew Koze was another creator's brand, but she couldn't come up with anything else. She knew this creator was smaller than her, and she took advantage of that. All of Jaclyn's Instagram comments under the Koze page have been flooded for months asking her to address it. Their last post was on November 4th, and every single comment is someone calling Jaclyn out. Obviously, Jaclyn knows that she messed up here, because why wouldn't you be posting on your new brand's Instagram page? Surely she should be wanting to get her brand out there and try and reach new customers, but it's been completely silent. Well, Jaclyn has finally returned to Koze, but shockingly, it's not to address Jaclyn. A lot of people assumed that maybe Jaclyn realized what she did and was quietly waiting for her stock to sell out before she ended the brand for good. But Koze is back. They announced another restock, writing, "We're back with the restock you've been waiting for," followed by, "Oops, we forgot to mention there's also a brand new item dropping next week. Set your alarm for 12/21/23 at 1 p.m. ET." And you guys just know, the comments are filled with people calling Jaclyn out, writing, "It isn't fair to your loyal subscribers and fans to be taking their money putting up how Koze was your idea to start with, meanwhile putting out another small female-owned business doing so. Are we just not going to address the whole stealing of another brand, or how are you going to drop a new collection without addressing the fact that you stole your name from a small creator? Every comment under all your posts are about it. Address Jaclyn Nicholson. She's a nice girl and had to completely rebrand her company because of this. If you were really about women supporting women, the least you can do is acknowledge the poor girl. As a business owner, you should be addressing how you stole a name from a small brand, causing them to shut down. The fact that you won't say anything about it says a lot. And I mean, I would like to say that I'm surprised, but I'm really not. I think Jaclyn most likely knows that she messed up here, but she's obviously in too deep, so instead of addressing it, apologizing to Jaclyn, and changing the name, she's most likely gonna keep on ignoring everyone and see how much money she can soak up from the brand. It's disappointing because this brand could have done really well for her. A lot of people do associate Jaclyn with homeware stuff and loungewear. She's always doing these Amazon hauls, showing off all the comfy stuff she buys and the decor. If she maybe just dug a little bit deeper and maybe even hired someone to help her figure out a unique name, this would have been a hit for her. Now, all people think about when they think of this brand is the fact that she stole it from a smaller creator and refuses to address it. It's just so sad for Jaclyn. I've seen a lot of people try and put blame on her for not trademarking years ago, but I mean, Jaclyn's Canadian. Trademarking stuff here isn't really as easy as it can be in the States, even though that's not even easy to start with. It's all really complicated, and she's doing this all on her own. It costs so much money, it's a really huge headache, and I guess she had more faith that her peers wouldn't do this to her. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about everything down below. What do you think about Jaclyn coming back, not addressing anything, and acting like nothing happened? Are you surprised that she's going about it this way, or do you think it's nothing new? Let me know, and I'll see you next time.